Hey, what's up, guys? This is Lisa. I just wanted to hop on for a little bit to just kind of wanted to share a, a story about an experience that I had in my life in regards to my attachment style. I know that you guys have, a lot of you guys probably are studying attachment styles, which are the secure, the avoidant, and anxious. I myself fall on the anxious spectrum of that, and I've been really been on this self-development mode as far as trying to heal that part of me that has been wounded. I'm quite sure that if you study, you understand that a lot of this stuff, a lot of way that our being is, it comes from the way that we were raised when we were growing up. And so that's how I became anxious. I did not realize that I was anxious until I really, this had to be maybe, this was like right before COVID started or right after I, was like in this self-development mode, trying to figure out why I am the way that I am when it comes to things, and especially when it comes to dating and things of that nature. I had already had started like studying attachment styles because I find it like so fascinating. For me, I kind of like the psychology thing, so that was one reason why I was studying. So I'm gonna fall back and like share my story about it. So in October 2020, of course, COVID was still going on. Things was kind of opening up a little bit. So me and my girlfriends and I decided to take a trip to Cancun for my birthday, which was in October 2020. So we went there and everything. Everything was lovely. I ended up meeting this guy on vacation. Hindsight 2020, he should have never gotten a conversation with me, but how it be. So anyway, we just went ahead and we exchanged phone numbers, and so while he was there with his friends, I was there with my friends. And so anyway, we was texting each other and stuff while we were, on, at the resort and stuff together, because they was doing things and we were doing things. So anyway, once, our vacations left and we got back home, well, let me add this, that he lived out of state, of course. We would have to fly in order to be able to see each other. There wasn't no driving or nothing that would help that. So he stayed like upper East Coast, and me down here in Dallas. So anyway, we had started, talking on the phone pretty often. So me thinking like going in, I'm like, well, I'm just going to not use him, because that's not a good way to say it, but I'm like, just to have some companionship, just to have somebody to talk to on the phone or whatever. I'm like, because I was like enjoying his company. And so, with us just talking on the phone, because he had like a really awesome like sense of humor, and he was always able to make me laugh and things of that nature. And I also like that part about him, that he was a go-getter, and that's the type of person that I am. So I would say that we connected that way. So that was my intention, just to have somebody just to like talk to on the phone and get to know, blah blah blah. So but he kept saying he was looking for somebody, and I honestly, I was too. And long distance is not really like a big thing for me, as being that I love to travel, so it really wasn't a big thing. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, we're talking, we had kind of set up a routine, because he worked nights and I worked days. So we would talk to each other like several times during the day, if it was just via text or just like a quick call, to say, hey, how your day going, blah blah blah. So this went on for like a couple of months, and then some things like change financially on his end. So let me back up just a little bit. So anyway, in the pretense of us getting to know each other, I consider myself to try to be like a really, I try to be open and transparent with things going on with me. So being that I was already studying these attachment styles, I was like, well, let me just be a little open and just share, and just to see how he would react. He was, and that's something that I learned about avoidant people. They don't feel comfortable as with sharing or talking or anything like that. I also think that he was like really emotionally unavailable as well. Because he just could not relate to anything that I talked about. And even when I would want to get into like deep conversations, he would get off the phone. That was one way, or he'll be like, "I'll call you back," and then I probably wouldn't hear from him till the next day. So it's like when we would get into these conversations, he never wanted to like continue to talk about those things. And so one day I like brought it up. I was sitting in a car at my job and I brought it up and I was like, I said, "You don't like talking about deep things, do you?" And he was like, "No, not really." That should have been my cue right then to like cut things off. But no, no, no. I continued on, because at this time, like I said, I'm studying the attachment style. So I'm like, let me study what, what he's like. Let me see, can, we make this work? Because I already knew that my attachment style was anxious as well. So I had been watching this lady on YouTube. Her channel is called The Development School, and her name is Thais Gibson, and she is like a guru when it comes to like attachment styles. If you have never watched any of her videos, I would recommend for you to do that. And then I also was watching this guy named Coach Cort. He also studied attachment styles as well, so I was just kind of feeling him too. So I had started like taking these courses through Thais's studies, and they were like really really in depth. I enjoyed them because it, you would get to the root of what the problem was, and and then she would also give you ways on how to like heal from it so that you could become more secure. So like I said, I kind of flipped that over with him, and I was just like, I would send him videos and stuff like when I would watch him. And when I would send it to him, he would watch him, and then all of a sudden, he was like, start calling me twin. And so I would laugh because some of the similarities that he had going on, I also had too. And they also say that anxious and avoidant always seem to match in because we're always drawn to each other because there is something lacking in both of our lives that we're familiar with each other as to why we attach basically. So anyway, back to like our conversation in the car. So, and he was like, nah, he was like, I really don't, it take me a long time to like really get comfortable with people. He said, but I've heard, people tell me that before. Okay, so again, that was my cue to go. But anyway, I stayed around, and so it was just like, as far as like my attachment style, which even before I even knew this, I was never the type of woman that would like be calling you like multiple times or calling a guy like multiple times and sending text messages and whatever. But baby, when I say that my anxiety be off the chain, because I'm like, are they gonna call back? Did they see my text message? Like, is he ignoring me? And then by the time whenever he does respond back, or the case, because sometimes a day or two might pass before he respond back, and by this time I'm so frazzled, and then I turn on my protest things, which I might not answer the phone, or I'm doing passive aggressive crap, or I got an attitude because I'm just like, you just went this long and didn't even bother to like reach out to me or even respond to my text messages. I think that's what the thing that was like really bothering me a lot. So anyway, but I was learning through the videos and everything that I was learning at the time. That's how I react to things, and those are the things that avoidant people do too. When they feel like they're getting too close, they tend to back away. And so, but I'm just like, thinking like, well, this is me, I'm special, what I'm saying? And he, once he sees this side of me, blah, 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 how we do it, put him in, once they see how great I am, they'll change. Nope. And I remember one time I was looking at, Dr. Phil, and he said on his show, do not give people the benefit of the doubt, and I could not understand it. And then what's the saying? I can't remember her name, but she said, when a person show you who they are, believe it. So, but of course, I didn't want to believe it. I'm like, because I'm trying to see like the good in him, which I try to see, I try to see good in all people, but mm-mm. But the Lord was telling me, leave this man alone. And I'm going to tell you why. The whole while that I dealt with him, my anxiety was always on 150. I would wake up sometimes in the morning time with anxiety. My stomach would be hurting. I would have bubble guts. A lot of times I was crying, and just for no reason. And it wasn't even like, he was doing things really to me. To be honest, it was just like, it was like I was expecting for something to happen. I was, just like, it's gonna happen. He's gonna leave me. Why hadn't I called? He met somebody else. So these are all things that I'm like thinking in my mind, and at the same time, the Lord is like, leave, leave, leave. Y'all, I would wake up sometimes like on the weekends, and my anxiety would be so high. I would go and walk on the trail, and sometimes I would like walk like 5 miles, just to try to relieve the anxiety that my body was feeling. And also and just to relieve tension. I didn't have no appetite to eat. I ended up losing like 25 pounds the whole time that I was dealing with this guy. And he would even tell me, he would even check me like, have you eaten today? And I'm like, no, I don't have no appetite. No, you don't have no appetite because you're the one that's causing the anxiety. I mean, well, he was the one that was causing the anxiety for me. So no. So I ended up losing like a lot of weight. I mean, I think the only thing I pretty much ate was soup. But anyway, to like make a long story short, we still continued to talk. I was still in my craziness, dealing with the anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, he ended up having some things kind of happen in his life or whatever, financially with his job and all this and the other. Now I want to say that he never ever asked me for anything. Never asked me for anything. Yeah, he never asked me for anything. So I was just like, well, since you aren't able to come down here, I was like, how about I, fly up there to come see you? Plus, I love traveling. And then, the city in which he stayed was a place that I had never been before anyway. So that was good. I got my plane ticket, got a hotel. So you know how sometimes, well, when stuff ain't right, you just don't feel right. I never ever ever felt right about going to visit him. I never was excited. It was just crazy for me. And so anyway, went up there. It was like the worst trip I could have ever. It was the worst trip ever. I did my anxiety was high. He did not want to discuss anything. He did not want to get close to me. He didn't have anything planned for us to do together. It was just, oh my God, it was just like the worst trip ever. And I was trying to get out of there early, tried to get me an earlier flight out once I realized all this, but I couldn't. So I ended up having to stay. So this was like the weird thing. So it was like once we got, no, the night before I was getting ready to leave, we were, just kind of sitting there talking or whatever. So he asked me, he was like, well, what you want to do, and I was like, I said, the whole purpose of, me coming up was for us to like spend some time together to kind of figure out, if we just want to be friends, did we want to move forward, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I was like liking him, but, and I kind of, I told him what I wanted. And so it was just like, he was just sitting there like this blank stare. It was just blank. And then he was like, I want that too. And I was like, well, okay, then, well, cool. Lie, 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 lie. So took me to the airport, and when I got to the airport, I knew automatically. I was like, I'm not gonna see him no more, and I haven't, and I didn't. And anyway, I guess we talked like a few more times after I got back home, and as he was getting ready to start like a new job. And so anyway, I had reached out to him like a couple of times, and I'm like, is it's just kind of weird that he was not responding back to me. So anyway, I sent a couple of texts. I, reached out to him, nothing. And so I was so like frazzled this particular day. One of my girlfriends was like, well, just send him a text, just send a text. Because at that point, I was like, I'm not reaching out no more. I'm like, I'm not finna be sweating you, whatever. I'm just not finna do it. But she convinced me to reach out, and I did, and he responded. The text was so nonchalant, guys. It was like super nonchalant. And then he was just like, well, I just been tired, that's all. And it was at that point I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I can't do this to myself. I'm not finna do this to myself because I deserve so much better. So I ended up ending things, cutting things off. It probably was already ended, and I was just trying to be hopeful. But anyway, I didn't hear from him anymore. It was like, I guess he was like, good riddance. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to deal with that no more. I probably was too emotional for him. I don't know what it was, and I don't even care at this point in my life. But again, just kind of looking back on things. And so, anyway, I think some months had passed, and I ended up sending him a letter, and he responded back via text message. It was nonchalant again. And that was pretty much it. Then he ended up reaching out to me like early last year, but of course he wanted something, which was for me to design him a website for his business. So anyway, we had like a consultation. Didn't hear from him anymore after then either. So, but anyway, I guess that was like good riddance. But anyway, for me, I had to go back in counseling again. I never really like cut off going to counseling or anything, but I have my moments when I go, and then I have my moments when I don't go. But anyway, I started back again because I felt like I was I felt like I was can't think of a good word. I just felt like I was out of sync. I'm like, I was ready to get past it, but I was just stuck. And so I had been dealing with this for about like a year and a half. I'm not gonna lie. Last year, I think for me, I was just like, I can't stay in this same mind space of wondering what happened, or could I did better, or sitting up holding anger, because I think the whole thing for me was I kept saying to myself, I cannot believe that he did me like this. I can't believe that he did me like this. I'm like, I never met this man any bad. But I had to think about it. I'm like, he got issues too. So he's not trying to work on his stuff like you're trying to work on your stuff. You just need to focus on you. So anyway, I bought this book called Attached. This book was really instrumental. I bought this one, and I got another book called Boundaries. I'm quite sure that you all have heard of it. But this book is like really, really good. And I just want to share some things that kind of, I guess for me, like they said, with you being anxious, there are things that that for a person with my attachment style, I need to be dating someone that's secure because of my emotional things that I didn't get in when I was growing up. Like for instance, I desire closeness and intimacy with someone. I'm very sensitive to signs of rejection. I'm hyper vigilant when it comes to things. I'm getting better. Trust me, I am. But baby, trust and believe, I'm looking for stuff. I'm looking for stuff to happen. And that's how it was with him. Um, I find it hard to tell a person what it is that I need and what's bothering me. But I had started getting better with that because I would tell him, I don't like when you just fall off for like a day or so. I need for you to respond back to me. And he would do it, but then he'll fall back off the wagon again. So, but when he would do those things, I would use the protest behaviors, which, would be like my passive aggressive type of thing. Um, and then again, I need to be reassured, and I need to be feel like I'm loved. So yeah, I'm like, those come with the questions like, do you still want this relationship? How do you feel about me, type of things. Because these are things that I didn't get when I was growing up. And then I was always, well, I ain't gonna say always, but I would ask him often, where do I stand with you in this relationship? Do you want to move forward with it? Do you just want to be pen pals? Blah blah blah. So anyway, but yeah, this book is like really really good, and I would recommend for you to. It just it just gives you an overview of how to deal with all types of people, honestly. But yeah, so that was one of the things that I had to do for myself as far as trying to heal my attachment style. I'm still working on it. I'm not dating right now. I'm not even in a mode to even be dating. Um, and I want to at some time, but right now I'm just enjoying my single life and stuff. And then and I'm also like working, well, not working, I'm like really been on my spiritual journey with God. And I'm like, and right now I don't want nothing to come between that, because I'm like, I'm just trying to stay focused on things. Yeah, being anxious with an avoidant person is for me, it's not going to work. It taught me, I learned my lesson after this, because even with him, after it was over and I kind of got past the hurt, again I sat back and I had to think about it. I was like, well, this kind of started like, again with my mom, because she was my primary care provider. But I was like, I can't even be mad at her, because she taught me all that she knew. Of course, I didn't get the things that I needed as mentally as a child growing up, but I'm trying to work on those things now, where I'm able to do things for myself and be able to self-soothe myself and talk myself out of these crazy emotions and stuff when they come up in my mind. But yeah, like I was saying, I do at some point would love to start back dating, but right now I'm just like really working again on my anxious attachment thing. I have learned to I guess my learning lesson after all of this was me being able to know the things that I want, my non-negotiables, my negotiables, my boundaries. Be able to be more attentive to when guys say things to me, that I can tune in to it and actually listen to what they're saying versus what I want to hear, because a person will tell you how they are. And so it's those things now that, like, when I meet people, I'm like, okay, well, nope, not this, not the right one for me, so on and so forth. So I'm believing and I'm praying that the Most High God will send me the person that's going to be like just perfect for me. But yeah, that was like a really learning lesson for me. I pray for him, and I pray that, that someday he decide that he wants to, you know, um, learn about his style so that he can find love, because everybody, everybody needs love. We're all here for a reason, and that's to help one another. And again, he just was not my assignment, but I'm believing that I had to meet him for me to be able to heal the things that I need to heal, so that I can be a better woman for whomever the Lord has fit for me to come. So, but anyway, I just wanted to like share my story with you guys. I hope that it helps someone. If you do have an anxious attachment style, or if you're dealing with someone that's avoidant or emotionally unavailable, you're going to, if you decide to stay in that relationship, you're going to have to learn a whole lot of things. But I just know for me, that just does not work for me. That's not the type of person that I need. And yeah, so if you have any questions, or again, like I said, I really hope that I wanted to share this story. So I hope that it really helps somebody on their journey. Well wishes. Thanks.